Hey, welcome to the second course video for the song Downstairs from 21 Pilots and their album Breach. I'm musically malnourished, and you're on my journey to go deep and wide in discovering new music and artists. In these videos, we do a deep dive into the lyrics and meaning behind the music. This one is a heartfelt one. It's deep, it's raw. Let's get in, see what all is going on with Downstairs. All right, here's what the About section says. Downstairs is a heartfelt track about the metaphorical downstairs, a cellar in which the speaker hides his beliefs and emotions from others and possibly himself. With mentions of being unholy, crying out for mercy, the lyrics invoke religious imagery, like some of the band's other songs, and paint a picture of the shame felt from withdrawing from one's religion. The song was a demo known by fans as Korea for 14 years, living only on drummer Josh Dunn's laptop before being reworked for Breach. At the album listening parties, Tyler detailed, "It's a 14-year-old demo. It's been living on Josh's computer for 14 years. Josh asked, 'What if we finish the song?' I thought it was crazy at first. It's an old song. I'm different now. I've changed. I finished it and realized it's an awesome song." Fittingly, the track is similar to some of the band's earlier work on Regional at best. And we do have the Live at the Bellwether performance over on Patreon. Okay, let's get into it. Verse 1. You can have all I've made and all I've ever known. You can have both my lungs if you ask me so, 'cause I want to be the one after your own heart, and I might doubt the process like I doubted the start. Okay, here's what I find really interesting. And obviously, this song speaks to me as a Christian. I feel many of these things, right? This longing, speaking to God, like you can have everything, all of me, all I've ever known, all I ever will be, all of my mistakes, all of my failures. I just want you. And I love the way that he's saying this, because being an artist, all I have made, and then also this all I've ever known, it's just a way to say like all encompassing. But I love how he specifically points these things, because even you can have both my lungs if you ask me so. It's essentially this way of not only breathing, because there is imagery in that in the scriptures of like that you are my life and my breath, that I don't even draw breath if it weren't for you. So you can have all of my breath, which is also a way of saying all of my being, because you need to breathe to live and to do things. And so it is saying like, just again, you can have everything. But if you also specifically tie it, this is beyond, or, because obviously one of his greatest gifts is in the writing and the producing, but the sharing of those things comes through his singing. And so even to say all that I've made and my lungs is like, you can even have everything that like I've basically built my life on. Those can be yours, these gifts that I have. So I think that that's really powerful in that sense. And obviously, I want to be the one after your own heart kind of evokes David from the scriptures that say he was a man after God's own heart. And David is an interesting character as well. David was not perfect. His story, it is a very interesting one. And it's kind of similar to even this journey that we've been on with Tyler, is sometimes not acting out the way that you want to, but yet this desire, and this is really what this song is communicating, like, show me mercy. Am I ruined? Am I unholy? Am I unclean? But God, I want you. Because you have David, a shepherd boy, who essentially the prophet Samuel comes to Jesse, David's father, and basically says, God, has sent me here to anoint someone king. And so Jesse brings his sons before Samuel, all of them except for David. And Samuel looks over his sons, Jesse's sons, and he's like, no, not this one. No, not this one. And he goes, you have any more sons? And Jesse's like, well, yeah, I mean, there's like David. he's out tending sheep. Like, he's busy. So he puts all these men before him, and David is the unassuming one. Now, the Bible does tell us he's like ruddy and handsome, but he's just unassuming to them. He's a shepherd. He's skilled with a sling. He is musical. But then they go fetch David and bring him before Samuel, and Samuel's like, this is him. And he anoints him with oil. And it's sometime later that he actually becomes king. So there's an interesting conversation and sermon even there, being anointed king before he's appointed king. You like that? That's preacher language, anointed, appointed. But David, through his life, of course, he defeats Goliath and runs from the current king Saul, who wants to kill him, eventually becomes king, is leading well. But then it says there was a time that the kings were supposed to be off at war, and David stayed behind. And one night when he was walking around on a rooftop or on a balcony, he sees this woman bathing, and he calls for her. He abuses his power as king. She comes to him. They sleep together. She gets pregnant. And her husband is one of David's most devout men. Like, if you could imagine your Green Berets, your SWAT team, your Navy SEALs, Uriah, her husband, was one of those men to David, and he was out fighting in the war. David calls him home, and in hopes that, like any man would, he'll go spend time with his wife, sleep with her, and that can be the cover-up that it's not actually David's child, it's Uriah's child. Uriah, gosh, dude, it's just insult to injury, rubbing salt in the wounds. Uriah sleeps at the palace or at the gate. I can't remember exactly. And David sends for him, like, go home to your wife. You know, like, he needs his plan to succeed. And Uriah says, how can I go be with my wife when men are at war? Dude, what an honorable man. He's just like, my friends are out fighting and dying, and how can I partake in luxury? How can I be in the arms of my wife knowing they're out there? David's like, dang it. So he sends him back, and then he writes a letter that Uriah be moved to the front lines, knowing that he would be killed, and Uriah is killed in battle. And so one of the, biggest marks, and then there's all kinds of family drama, like one of David's sons, I think, either does or tries to sexually abuse, essentially rape one of his sisters, and it's all kinds of weird stuff. One of his sons tries to usurp him as king. He has a beautiful head of hair. He ends up actually getting caught up in this tree, and then his other brothers, from another mother of the girl he abused, kill him. It's crazy. All that being said, even his son Solomon, who was known as one of the wisest men on earth, led the nation into its most prosperous. That was actually the son he had with Bathsheba, Uriah's wife. But even when David desired to build a temple, because he had built up the city, he had built a wonderful palace, and he wanted to build a temple for the Lord. And basically God told him, you're a man of war, a man of blood. And he didn't let David build the temple. David prepared for the temple, but it was Solomon that built the temple. So all that to say, there's your Bible study, your character Bible study for the day. All that to say, and you can find his story in First and Second Samuel. All that to say, David had this, at times, this wavering, and yet he's still called the man after God's own heart, because ultimately through his failures, he repented and through the doubting, he was like, God, I want you. I want to belong to you. I want to be with you. You can have all of me. So this idea, here really fits. And I might doubt the process like I doubted the start. I thought that was interesting because I was wondering, obviously the doubting the process, the cycles, am I getting better? Am I getting worse? Is this actually working? But doubted the start to me could mean a few things. Wondering if the beginning of his faith journey was authentic. And that's that idea where the faith of your fathers can't remain the faith of your fathers. Eventually, if you're going to walk in that path, it has to be yours. It gets passed down to you. The baton is handed off. And so I wonder if that could be part of it. Was it authentic, or is just this my father's faith that I kind of like believe in but don't fully believe in? The other, could be this idea of doubting the start, as in, is the fight worth it? The same way you're doubting the process, is this working, the start of even engaging in the battle? So I'm begging mercy. Beautiful. And this is why I love the line, it's not scripture, it's just one I've said a lot of times, that God's not requiring perfection. He doesn't want perfection. He knows you can't be perfect. That's the whole point of Jesus. You were saved by grace through faith, and this is not of yourselves, so that no one can boast. That's Ephesians 2. But it's not about perfection. It's about pursuit. All right, then we get into the chorus. Downstairs, I feel better in the cellar. Down there, it's some shelter from the weather, which obviously could just mean the weather of life, the difficulties, the storms. I wear all of my heart on my sleeve, which we'll see what this says in a minute, but I'm going to share what I think first. I wear all of my heart on my sleeve. I'll take what I believe and I'm hiding it. So the way this feels like it connects to me is, obviously there's this idea of hiding. He says that in the last part of it. But being in the cellar, this place of shelter, this place of hiding, I think is interesting because there is a place actually for that, in the sense of a secret place. So Jesus taught, like, when you pray, don't do it on the street corners. And that's not saying like you can't have public prayer. It's the heart and intention of it. That there were religious people who would pray publicly so that others would think how religious they are. And that's what he's condemning. He's saying, but when you pray, go shut the door. Like, go be in secret. Your Father who sees what's in secret will reward in the open. It's the reminder that it's not just a system you're following, it's a person. And that there's someone in the silence. And if you're going to do something in private, it's generally because you really mean it. It's authentic to you. I spend time in prayer because I know that God is real, and I know that he hears me, and I know that he speaks to me, and I know that he guides me, and I love him, and I want to spend time with him. I want to invite him into my thoughts and into everything. If I didn't believe that, I wouldn't create the space and time for it. I would just go to church and pray in public so everybody could see me. So there is the good part of that, but I think what this is more so saying it is a hiding away. And for me, the I wear all of my heart on my sleeve, to me seems like maybe when he's in the cellar, that's where he's open and vulnerable, but then he's going to take what he believes and hide it, like out there, instead of not when he's downstairs, not when he's hidden away. And it could just be this metaphor, that even if he's out doing things, it's like really his heart and what he truly believes and feels, like he's hiding it away. Even when he's out in the open, it's as if his faith is downstairs. Or that part of his life that knows God, seeks God, desires to know him. He kind of keeps that part of himself downstairs. And it is interesting too, because it's kind of the exact opposite. You know, Jesus said that no one lights a lamp and puts it under a basket, right? That doesn't make sense. If you want something to give light, it's like your phone. You know, you don't, if you need light somewhere, you don't light the flashlight and then go, all right, let's go find it. It's useless. You let it shine forth. And so in the same way, with your faith, it's meant to be this light that's in you, right? That we should be different because of what God has done in us. And that light is meant to be like a city on a hill. Not, again, so that people can go, oh, wow, look how great you are. No, it's so that other people can go, man, what's different? Like, why do you act the way that you act? Why do you speak the way that you speak? How in the world could you forgive that person? Aren't you going to whatever them? And it's like, well, no. And I'll tell you why. Like, I've really screwed up in my life, and God's extended me forgiveness. And I feel like if I were to reject forgiveness or withhold forgiveness from others, it's basically me saying like, yeah, I'll take the gift, but I won't give it. I'm more deserving than they are. And so anyways, and you can do that in multiple arenas of life. That's what it means to be the city set upon a hill. And it's also meant to guide other people to go, I'm curious, I want to know, what is it that is different about you? What is it that changed you? And so it is kind of that exact opposite, right? To be the city on the hill, he's saying, I'm more so in the cellar. Okay. So then we get into this feeling, right? The shame that comes from hiding that. Feeling like I'm nothing, feeling like I'm run down. So maybe nothing from the shame, but also nothing like I am not good enough. I'm run down. I'm worthless. You can't do anything with me. My faith is too weak. I doubt too much. I say one thing and I do the other. I'm semi-automatic. I was afraid of nothing. Now I'm just ashamed how I hide my face from you. And that could mean this, like in operating in life, I'm not afraid of anything, but when I think of you, when I think of our relationship, then I just feel ashamed. Like I'm bold in life, but then in these quiet moments, I'm ashamed of how I hide from you. Because, right, hiding has to do with being afraid. So he's kind of saying like, I'm afraid of nothing, but I hide from you. Which is interesting, man. And we've talked about it before, so I won't, belabor the point. But the idea of Adam and Eve, when they sinned, they hid themselves from God. Same thing like when a child does something wrong, they hide themselves from a parent. And that parent might be a perfectly, like, not perfect, but a very loving, patient, understanding parent, a good father, who, sure, there might be discipline because that's just what happens, with certain actions, but a loving father disciplines out of love toward a better purpose to help you grow and learn. And so in the same sense, like God is a perfect father, there is a shame sometimes when we fail, but it's the difference between conviction and condemnation. Because the scriptures tell us that basically there's no more condemnation for those who are in Christ. That does not mean like we receive the gift of forgiveness and then we just go live as if we haven't. That's calls into question, like, do you truly understand what Jesus has done for you? Has he truly made you new? Because there's at least something in you that wants to push back, that wants to fight, that wants to engage in the cycle. But conviction is this, hey, come on, we can do better than that. I've called you to more. And those are the conversations I have with my kids, I look at them, I'm like, that's not who you are. One of the things we dealt with most severely in our house was lying. And I'm thankful up to this point, I don't have kids that lie to me, that hide things from me. So we'll continue to deal with that as they get older. But lying was one of the things in our house, dude, we shut down so strong because we were just like, listen, there's something special between us. There's something special between a child and their father, a child and their mother, between their siblings, to their friends, and to the world. And lying will destroy that. Lying will erode the foundation of our relationship, because every good relationship is built upon trust. And so, anyways, I don't know where I was getting at with that. The idea of conviction. And so saying, like, that's not who you are. You're someone who tells the truth. You want good relationships, right? You want us to have a good relationship? Yes. And they feel that conviction. But it's followed up with, I love you. I believe in you. And all of a sudden there's this lifting that comes. Condemnation is, you'll never get it right. You're just a liar. You'll never do better. How dare you? You're disgusting. I wouldn't even call you my child. Gosh, it's gross, man. And that's what condemnation is. And the enemy wants to come and make you feel condemned, not convicted. The Father offers conviction. An enemy offers condemnation. One lifts and one lowers. Let's see what this says. God forgives and shows love, and to a being who can show nothing but love, why would one try and hurt them through sin? Tyler's expressing his shame in his sin, though God gives him grace, which is a common part of the Christian walk. Yeah, these lyrics also relate to Screen from Vessel. I do not know why I would go in front of you and hide my soul, because you're the only one who knows it. Because you're the only one who knows it. So I'm begging mercy, patience, grace in my struggle, in my doubting, in my hiding. All right, bridge. Oh, what have I become? Dirty and wretched one. In my unholy land, have I forced your hand? Obviously, I mean, this is pretty straightforward. This feeling of shame. And these questions are fine. The true answer is no, And I mean, ultimately, apart from his work in us. But I was really curious about this, forced your hand. God's grace and mercy is so big, our own mind cannot fathom it. Tyler begging mercy and cleanliness from God, we can assume, part of his prayer and or cry to God about how he falls short to God's glory, feels unworthy of his grace and mercy due to his uncleanliness from sin. I mean, I feel like forcing someone's hand. Let's see here. Make someone do something. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So that's where I'm a little confused with that line. Have I forced your hand? Have I made you do something? Let me know if you have any thoughts or insight on that. Okay, we go back in. I love this part here. And I'm hiding it. Yeah, because I want to be the one after your own heart. I might doubt the process like I doubt the start, but at the same time, the whole time it's saying, and I'm hiding it, because you can see this like torn self in him. He's admitting like I'm hiding it, but also I want to be the one after your heart. And I'm doubting the process like I doubt the start. So I love that idea. There's this hiding and this wanting at the same time, and they can both exist. God is big enough to deal with both of them. He's big enough to strengthen the want and the desire until it eventually dissolves the hiding. And then you might find the cycle again. You might find yourself back in a place of hiding, and he can do it again. Always. You can have all I've made, all I've ever known. You can both my lungs, if you ask me so, because I want to be the one after your own heart, and I might doubt the process like I doubt the start. Man, really beautiful song. It caught me off guard. You may have noticed in the react. I was like, man, I don't know, at least personally, I don't know there's any other way to interpret this than just this plea to God of your desires and your struggles. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for being with me for this one. The live performance is up over on Patreon, so feel free to give that a look. I'll see you in the next one. We're eating good.